Fired up.
Friday.
Friday. There we go. Dude, how are you?
What's up, man?
Man, I'm
Woo.
good.
It's
good.
nine-ish. It's nine-ish.
It's
Friday.
nine-ish. It's nine-ish. It's nine-ish with, kids in the world and everything else going on.
Dude, okay.
Yes.
So how many do you have at home full time? 4?
Two full
Two.
time.
Oh,
yeah, five
okay.
altogether.
5
Yeah.
altogether. Wowza. Okay. Because one's off.
One is off in the Air Force in San Antonio, and the other
what
two
they-
are in Alaska, which is where I'll be for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, right on. Okay.
And then, the next 12 days, whatever. And then 2 here.
What was the tagline of the Air Force? Why am I? It's like there's be all you can be, and there's the Marines, a few good men. Oh my God! For the life of me, I can't think of the Air Force's tagline.
Nicer housing, I think, is a tagline. I think it
Better
is
food.
Better food.
We've got planes.
We've got planes. We can get you places.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll get you out.
Well, man, I just remember growing up in the '80s when everything was like super USA.
Yes.
There was commercials on constantly,
Yeah,
and they always
yeah.
had every one of them had their kind of
The
tagline.
line,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably remember it at
There we go. We'll get there.
2:40 in the morning. I'll be texting you
Yeah,
like, dude,
absolutely.
it's
Boom.
this.
Got it.
Right on.
Yeah.
So you're in town for the moment.
Yep.
Then
Rock
you're
and roll.
gone. All right,
Yeah.
excellent. So, dude, check it out. I punctured my. So I should not. There's a reason why I'm not running around the kitchen very
Yes.
often.
What'd you do?
So my new blender. So I trade personal training for the
Yep.
content here at the studio, and she's gotten me obsessed. I may or may not have an addictive personality.
May or may. We'll see.
Yeah, jury's out. Not really. I'm obsessed with the macros and the protein.
Oh, really?
And so yes,
I haven't measured something since a long time.
I didn't until then. Oh my God!
Does it make a difference?
It does.
What?
It does. It absolutely
Can
does.
you just have chicken and rice and call it a day?
Yes, you absolutely
Okay.
could. But that requires some level of cooking skill.
So what are you doing?
So
Just powders?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I'm absolutely.
Coke in the bottle this time, not in the bag.
Yeah. There you go. That as far as a foundational sound policy, that's a good one.
That is a good policy.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I have lots of plans.
Yeah, it's
I
lesser.
have lots of policies.
Yeah, it's the
We got
lesser of
science
two
to
evils.
executive orders
But
up in
no, my mind is just it's crazy. I always look for the shortcut.
Yeah.
Or not shortcut per se, but the how can I just inject this with
So what
more?
what does it look like?
Okay, so are you familiar? I'm sure you've seen the pure protein, the shakes, the
Sure.
chocolate shakes. Okay, so I got because it was I had one of those little blenders, the single gimmick
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
what you put water in there, whatever.
The bullets or whatever?
Yeah, well, exactly. But it was not stout enough to do because I came up with the ultimate sci-fi combination where it's the protein powder because of course. USA, you got to go hard.
Okay.
And 28 grams of protein per serving in 8 ounces of water.
Okay.
Well, then it was okay, what if we put 2 scoops in 8 ounces of water? Okay,
Okay.
well, the little bullet gimmick won't spin.
Okay, but what else do you put in there?
So then I thought, well, what if we took the pure protein shake and used that as the water? So now that's got 30 grams of protein.
You're 100 grams of protein.
It's
You just
80.
fork
So,
it
yeah,
down.
Yeah, it's 80 something. No, so
Killed your blender with protein.
I killed the bullet. Yes.
There may be a
However-
protein max.
However, the Ninja blender
Yeah.
is a monster.
Absolutely.
So I got that. And then it turns out it's also very jabby.
Kind of sharp.
Yeah, very, very cutting. So I've already punctured. I had it a day.
Yeah.
I punctured my finger.
That's amazing.
And luckily, though, I actually had these Band-Aids in the
Yeah.
drawer,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know about because it's I always grew up and there was just stuff in the house. There were Band-Aids. There were
It just was there, yeah.
There's tape.
Now you're
there's,
an adult, you
yeah.
have to buy
There's
that stuff.
batteries. Yeah, yeah. And it's every once in a while I'm oh wow, I didn't know I had those.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's my protein shake story, and that's why I'm wearing a Band-Aid today.
I like it. I like it. It's good. Yeah.
But 80, I think it's 84 grams of protein in the one.
And what else do you eat during the day?
Then it's just a matter of watching the caloric intake. I think she's got me at 1,400 calories a day.
Uh-huh.
And so there I just get obsessed, and it's a lot of barcode scanning.
Yeah. Interesting. It's cool.
Because if I could do away, just telling myself and the insanity that goes through my mind, I thought about Ozempic
Yeah.
because I kept seeing all these things where it's
What would you lose? You have no fat.
appetite, the need to eat food.
The need to eat, yeah.
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 Because there's just, I don't know, there's something about the idea of, wait a minute, because I was talking to somebody that was taking it, and they're like, oh yeah, my appetite it left. It got turned off, flipped a switch. And I was like, that's incredibly useful.
Interesting.
Because I'm not one of those ones that really likes I'm not a foodie or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
care.
Yeah.
And I'm never
Crazy.
gonna cook. But
It's wild.
I'm not sure. Oh, I was just I was noticing my finger hurt.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
So, what is on your radar this week?
Man, two things. It's funny. I was looking up this morning and asking, what are people struggling with right now? And the two things that came up was that I thought it would be interesting to get your take on these. One was uncertainty and rapid change. Like that's the first thing that came up, and I think a lot of people are struggling with that right now. And it was interesting. I was watching a video this morning, and the guy said, "Name one business that you don't think a robot or AI can replace 10 years from now." He's like, and I'll show you a robot that's already doing it.
Oh.
And somebody's like, roofing. And he's like, well, here's a robot they created 2 years ago that can roof. And then they're like, what about the, thing after thing. So I think uncertainty and rapid change is a big thing. So how do people navigate that?
Well, I know that most people freak out.
Most people freak out.
And human nature is to then engage in the blame game.
Right.
Like, whose fault is this?
Exactly, yes.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Who's to blame? Because that's the easy way. And then that, of course, alleviates any accountability.
Yes. Yeah.
Because for me, the secret sauce has and remains accountability.
Yeah.
For whenever. It's funny because I talked to one of my investors and I said, dude, it is surely as the sun will rise and that there are seasons, the first of the month, every month, at least in the winter, I'm going out of business. It's just like I just shit bricks and freak out. And
well, and this is a winter cycle. Like
Right.
if you look like what we're going through, like this is a winter cycle in business that we're in right now for another year or two. So it's an interesting season. So like you said, people freak out,
Yes.
or they blame, or the third thing they usually do is they just freeze, right?
Yes.
So they just don't do anything, and all three of those all three of those mess you up, or at least they pause you while everybody else time's still marching on.
Yes.
Right. So most people they freeze, they freak out, like you said, they get into resentment, resistance, everything else. So how do you? What should people be doing when there's all that rapid change, and everything else going on?
So my knee jerk is to attack. I am so dying. I have so much pent up, probably too because it is winter,
Right.
and it's like, oh hey, there's something. I see something green out there, kind of, sorta. Because I don't know if I have the seasonal affective thing or
Yeah.
whatever, but it sure feels like it. Because dude, winter sucks.
Yeah.
Cold weather sucks. The gray skies. It's dark. 18 hours a day. All of that shit
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you can. I sheetrocked over
So
the
so
fireplace.
here's the thing though. How long have you known that, and what have you figured out to do about it?
I've known it for a long time. It becomes glaringly apparent
Yeah.
once you get sober.
Yes.
Because then all of a sudden, everything that bothers you
Right.
is in stark relief.
Right.
I've known it for a long time, and part of it is just acknowledging, okay, well, that's how I'm wired. That's the OEM software
Yeah.
that's in there,
Yeah.
and I don't know where it came because it's not like a learned behavior. And at least in my world, winter sucks.
Yeah.
It's just I hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to go skiing. I don't want to go. I did like it when I was younger, and we actually went skiing, and that was cool.
Yeah.
But it also had this element of you go somewhere,
Right.
It's
And then you come
cold.
back
It's
to
on a mountain.
reality.
Yeah, and then you come
Yeah.
back, and it's like, oh, 42 and ugly.
Right.
Beats the hell out of okay, my pants are frozen,
Right.
and because I'm basically swabbing the mountain with my ass the whole day. So it's you come down and your pants are frozen and everything, and you go into the lodge or whatever. That has a romantic air,
Yeah.
but to live in that, I can't imagine Alaska, dude. What is it? It's pretty much like winter from what?
I mean, they're like, it's so hot right now, it's 40 degrees. So they're like, basically in summer already at 40 degrees is what they feel
Right.
like. Yeah, no, it's winter for 9 or 10 months, in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah, it's so much.
brutal.
But here's the thing. So then it's like, okay, I know this about me. So
Yes.
then I think that's where hyper awareness comes in, responsibility. It's like, okay, so do I need to pace myself a little bit differently in the winter? Do I need to
Yes.
get one of those lights out in the winter? Do I need to go to the beach? And what are the things I need to do? Because if winter always sucks and winter's a fourth of your life, what do we do to make winter not an enjoyable or different season?
So for me, it's always the first thing is
I say marry rich and go to Florida, but your answer will be interesting too.
okay. I'm taking resumes for that. Okay, yeah,
Absolutely.
we're now accepting resumes. We'll keep
Yes.
it on file.
Yeah.
I would say the first thing, much like recovery, is to admit that that is the thing.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
and the fact that okay, it just tears the ass out of me. Partly because what we do is relatively seasonal.
Yeah.
Now I do so for me now, I have the ability. We come here.
Yeah.
And we do this, and it doesn't matter if it's
Right.
100 out or 100 below or whatever. Well, probably this building probably wouldn't survive 100 below.
Yeah.
But do something.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
Because in my world and based on my experience, action alleviates anxiety.
Absolutely.
You know, and then
Yeah.
sometimes doing the wrong thing is better than doing nothing.
Well, sometimes you'll figure out 4 ways that don't work before somebody even starts.
Right.
Right. Like, so yeah. So
Which is how I'm wired now.
yes. Yeah.
Where-
I think action with awareness. So it's like intention, like an intentional plan, action, reflection, and like if you can do those in a really healthy cycle, like that's the key. So it's not just action for the sake of action, right? But it's like intentionality, action, and then reflection on like, hey, what's working, what's not working, but doing that faster. I think that's one of the big things that leads, and you hear this over and over and over. Like so many successful people, one of the differentiators between them and everybody else is they do things faster. Like once they know what they need to do, or in my case, like I heard somebody say one time, they go, once you have 70% of the information, you probably need to make a decision.
Yes.
Because you're never going to get to 100.
The perfect product doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Ship it.
Yes. Ship it and do it faster. Right. It doesn't
Yes.
mean, haphazard everything, but I think there's a balance there where like most people, especially in winter season, we kind of pull the brakes, we stop taking action, we slow down, and then everybody else is zooming by.
Yeah, when it's that human nature thing to conserve
Yeah.
resources.
Yes.
And I don't know. I'm also insanely optimistic, maybe delusionally optimistic for 2025, because everything now just seems to be on 11,
Yeah.
no matter what
Yeah.
it is. And I don't know, that gets me fired up.
Yeah.
And the idea that the accountability, I love the action with awareness. And I would say the action is the biggest thing. Do something.
Yep.
And then if you have the awareness, so like to me, action with awareness would be pull the trigger. And then if it's not working, don't get into the sunk cost
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
situation where it's like, well, I've already been doing this for so long, or I've already put this much into it. Well, make it like, oh, I just threw $500 out the window.
Right.
Whoops. Okay, well, here I got another window.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, let's keep going in the wrong direction because of whatever emotional thing that. But every time I've ever done that and been able to pivot, and the best part of like having Cruz along with me now for almost 5 years is I have a witness.
Yeah.
Not only do I have the benefit of him coming in as like the Padawan
Yeah.
and then Jedi apprentice, and now he's a Jedi or whatever. But he's been there at every stage, where
absolutely.
I have these like kind of mile markers of, and they could literally be like in that moment, oh, I thought that was the thing. Turns out, no, that wasn't
No,
the thing.
no.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Or it was kind of the thing, but not really.
100%. Yes.
And so how do you get that in the world of coaching? To me, that was learned by doing.
Yeah.
So how do you get that across in the sense of this is a necessary?
Yeah, I think part of it's permission, right? Like permission to try different things, permission to like, oh, that didn't work, let's pivot. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what did we learn from that? Where does that now position us to go do? I think it's a big part of it. And then one of the things we do is like a lot of my clients, we set up like an R&D fund. So it's like, hey, $1,000 a month is your R&D fund, right? So it's like this is the money that we're gonna like play with.
Yeah.
And hey, we'll try this thing for 3 months. If it works, cool. That becomes a line item, and we have an ROI on that and everything else. If it doesn't, like we recoup that $1,000 and we do something else with it. So it's like it's not like it's meant to be the practice money. It's meant like if that didn't work, it's
like that.
well, that was like that was the gamble money. We didn't spend the
Yes.
house. We spent the money we set aside to actually play around with. So I think like being intentional about it, but I think permission's a big thing. Like sometimes it's like, yeah, let's try that, and if it doesn't work, like okay, it didn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
do you
what
think
did we
that's
learn?
it's almost like permission to not necessarily fail, but permission to do something before you
Yes.
think you're ready or
And I
before
think
you
it's like
feel.
with kids, like how many kids are supposed to like go through, like they're supposed to figure out at 14 exactly what they want to do with their life and just stick to that without trying anything. And it's like you should be able to try some different
At
things.
14,
to go,
I wanted to be in Motley Crue.
right, yeah, absolutely. Like every 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, like should have multiple different summer jobs and
Yeah.
things like that. So you go like, oh, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. Turns out I really hate blood. You know what I mean? Or,
Yes.
oh, I thought I'd love to do this. Turns out I don't like being alone all the time. Hey, I thought I'd love this. Like, you know what I mean? Like we should give them more opportunities to practice things, not just to figure out what they like, but to figure out what you don't like.
Yes. And like you said, the whole idea of this is your path, and then to waver from that
Yeah.
somehow is indicative of you being a failure.
And I think it's this is why like hustle porn is so tough to deal with, because it's like stick to something, never give up. Unless you find out it's the wrong thing, then you should pivot and pivot really fast. It's like,
Yeah.
hold on, which one, right? Right? And it's like be fully committed and open to everything. And it's like, hold on, right? Like be adventurous, but never waver. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you want from me?
Yeah, embrace change.
Yes.
But don't give up.
Never change. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what do you like? So much of life is dichotemy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's hard to navigate.
And I think part of it too is admitting that part.
Yes.
Because while I am probably one of the leading consumers of hustle porn,
Yeah.
because for
Me
me,
too.
yeah, but it's funny. I didn't do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning it just seems very trite.
Yes.
And just kind of snake oil.
Yeah.
But there is something after having gone through, several companies and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other thing, and different pivots and things where, like, for example, the original Dallas location took the L, tens of thousands of dollars
Yes,
out the fucking
absolutely.
window. And in the moment, I would not say it in that cavalier of a manner.
Right, yeah.
But now, a few years later, while
Yeah.
it still stings, and
Yeah.
I feel like a dumbass
You're able to get
for
through it.
and it's so funny too. I don't know if this is human nature, if this is just like part of one of my quirks or whatever, but it's like getting mad at myself for shit that intellectually I know that there was no way I could have known
Yeah.
that. Having
One of my favorite questions is asking people like, how you knowing what you knew then, would you have done anything different? And they're like, actually, based on what I knew, based on the information I had, based on what was going on in my life, like I think that's actually the decision I probably would make again. It's like, yeah, now you know differently, but like,
Right.
let's not judge ourselves on what I know now for what I didn't know then, right? But let's learn the lesson and recoup that and move forward. But I think too, the other part of this is like, you've got to get people around you to help you make some of those decisions, because people are like, how do I determine blah blah blah, whatever that is for them? How do I determine when I should give up? And for a lot of people, you shouldn't determine that on your own.
Right.
You're too close to it. You only have one perspective. You need to get in a room like our mastermind rooms or whatever it is to get multiple people to help you make that decision, because you should not trust you all the time. And what I mean by that is like when you only have one vantage point, like you should you don't need to take everyone's advice 100%, but you need to be open to getting multiple people's insight because you only have one perspective.
Yes. And you're going to have your inherent biases that you
Yes.
probably aren't aware of.
Yes.
Just like I said, the conditioning that I had internally from wherever it came from, the idea that I should have known better about this area of
Right.
business and more importantly, commercial real estate
Sure.
and whatever, that I had no way of ever actually encountering until I encountered it.
Exactly. Yes.
It's just like you should know how to swim before you get in the water.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
I don't
like,
care
oh,
how many
does that
books you
work?
read on it,
Right.
you're gonna have to go get wet to figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, my favorite thing is
Exactly.
when people are like, "Oh, I know what my blind spots are," and I'm like, "I love you so much. You obviously don't know what a blind spot is."
Yeah.
because if you knew it, then it would no longer be a blind spot.
Blind spot being
Yeah.
blind being the
Is-
operative word.
Yeah, the stuff you don't know. Yep, and it's,
Yes.
it's hard for us to see
And,
that on our
and
own.
there's the other thing, like for me, it's always too, like embarrassment was kryptonite for the
Hmm.
longest time. And I've come to realize that if you are, especially starting a business by yourself,
Yeah.
and you're not inheriting the family business or the thing that you grew up
Yeah.
in, or something even in the world of real estate where it's fairly well established as far as the parameters go. But like what I do now, there's no brochure, there's no pamphlet, there's no roadmap for any of that. So the idea that you're going to just automatically know how to navigate
Yeah.
all of that,
Yeah.
to say nothing of the generic bullshit that navigating a business entails, like the comptroller,
Yeah.
sales tax, or or just whatever.
What is the comptroller? Does anyone know?
Dude?
We file reports, but does anyone know what actually is it an actual person, or are we just sending mail and checks to like an empty box somewhere? I think
That
that's
gets
what it
my
is.
vote. And,
I think it's like the
don't-
Polar
I think
Express.
it's
Like,
emptied
just
every.
go
I think
somewhere.
the box is emptied every day.
Yes,
but
yes.
I don't think there's actually a comptroller that could actually
think so.
explain
I
any
don't
of
think
it.
so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
and it goes back to that crazy. There's like all those TikTok videos or whatever. Like, wait a minute, I make $1, I pay taxes on it. Then I buy something for $1, then I pay taxes on the sale. Then the person that gets that pays sales tax to. And it's like this dollar. By the time it makes the rounds, it is.
Yeah,
It's
there's like 4 cents
Wait a
left.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you die, and your kids pay taxes on the 4 cents.
Right. Then your kids get 2. Yeah.
Cool. All right, what's your advice for the week? What do you want to drop on people?
Advice for the week is don't quit.
Don't quit.
Yeah. It's
Don't quit moving for sure.
yes, absolutely. Forward. And spring is right around the corner.
It's right around
And
the
like
corner.
now, are you optimistic for 2025? I certainly
Absolutely,
am.
yeah.
And I feel like we're in one of these like mythical times where it's like everything's about to go ass over tea kettle.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
dude,
where
I think it's right now. It's one of the. Oh, sorry. Finish your thought.
just the idea of the real money is made in the chaotic market or,
Yeah.
or when there's trouble. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I like that.
Like who said like never waste a crisis?
I do believe that was one of Barack Obama's,
Yeah.
like maybe Rahm
So
Emanuel.
so
or one
good.
of those
And like
guys.
it's like one of my clients is up in like Maryland and Virginia and everything else, and like people are like losing their jobs. There's a lot of chaos. It's like I'm not happy for those people. Yet with my client, I'm like, hey, start teaching a class on, hey, you lost your job. Here's your options, right? Like, hey, you don't know what's gonna happen. What can you do? Like, like don't miss an opportunity to help people in crisis. And I think that right now we're gonna have a lot of that. And man, what I'm seeing is, and I think it's just true in every season. Yet right now, it is such a self-fulfilling prophecy. Some of my clients are doing better than they've ever
Yep.
done. Some people that I talk to, are like, man, we're really whatever. Like you're gonna find what you believe you're gonna find. And there's so many people that are finding opportunities. So many people that are finding, man, there's nothing happening. Like one of my clients did, he's like, there's nothing on the market, right? I don't know what to do. It's like, stop waiting. Why are you waiting for other people to push stuff on the MLS? Go find people that are open to selling, right? Hey, I've got a buyer that's thinking about buying in this area. I promised them I would ask everyone in the street who's thinking about selling, are you open to selling, right? Like the fact there's nothing on the market is the opportunity to go
Right.
get it. But there's going to be people that sit there and wait for something to pop up
Well,
on the
yeah.
MLS, or there's going to be people that go like, I'm going to go to Deerfield and knock on every single door till I find somebody that goes,
Shout
actually,
out
we
to
are thinking about selling.
Deerfield.
Shout out to Deer. That's a real place, right? In Plano?
Yeah, it is,
Okay,
yes.
I think I
West
was like, did I
Plano.
just make that up, or is that a real place?
That's real. West Plano.
I talk
Yeah.
about Silver Springs all the time, which I don't think is an actual place. But anyway, I just make up neighborhoods.
It should be. If
Yeah,
it's
like
not.
123 Main Street.
Yeah. Oh, that's
There's
yeah.
got to be. I wonder. By the way, last question: where is the First Baptist? You know what I mean? Like the First Baptist Church. I want to know where the First Baptist Church is.
I think it's now called the original First Baptist.
the OG.
Yeah, the original First Baptist.
The Goat Baptist.
It's like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Spinal Tap, which is the 80s heavy
Maybe.
metal mock. It was made by Rob Reiner and, like. Who
I
did-
was very sheltered in the 80s.
Okay.
I didn't
but
get out a
it's,
lot.
he talks about, well, yeah, our band was called The Originals, and then there was another band called The Originals, so we were the new Originals.
The new
The
originals.
new Originals. So, yes,
Oh.
it's the new First Baptist Church.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I won't be here next week. I will be in the land of Alaska. We're doing like 4 different events. It's going to be amazing. Shout out to Real Producers Alaska. We're
Oh,
doing an
right
event.
on.
Shout out to Matt with Six Pillar. We're doing an event. We're doing another event in Talkeetna. We're doing another event somewhere else. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be a great week.
Speaking of events, we got a little something. So I put Michelle on the hook
Yes.
yesterday just to do a little piece of content for something in April.
Something in April.
Yeah, TBD.
TBD.
So
I'm going to Lubbock in April for a couple days. I mean, that's always a good time.
I'll take it. Yeah, shout out to Lubbock.
Shout out to Lubbock. Here we come. It's gonna be
All
great.
right.
I love my friends
Oh,
out there.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't like getting. I love Lubbock.
Yeah.
I just don't like the 6 hours between me and Lubbock.
yeah,
Yes.
it's. I taught for NAR in Abilene a bunch of times, and like that was another one of those. It's not quite as far. It's like halfway to Lubbock, maybe. It's west. I know that. And it's like one of those ones where it's like.
Right before you get to California.
Yeah, where
take
like
a left.
it's so funny. It's stereotypical and it's a joke in Texas, but it's like, oh, you drive from Dallas to Fort Worth, and then west.
Just west.
And then everything looks exactly the same. And then, hey, I'm in Abilene.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I got a ticket last time we drove to. Well, I got pulled over last time I was driving to Lubbock, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, dude." I was like, "I've just been driving for." He's like, "I totally get it." He's like, "There's nothing out there." Literally, didn't write me a ticket or anything. He's just like, "I get it, brother.
he's
Like,
I feel
there's
you.
nothing
He's
here."
like, I just wanted somebody to talk to.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, he's like, "You just look nice. I liked your truck. I wanted to say hi." Yeah, there we go.
Oh, the truck. Is it back to life?
It is. It's all fixed now.
Right
after
on.
4,000 trips to the dealership, we're good to go.
Okay, right on.
Yeah,
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
take that truck to Lubbock.
there we go. I'm
All
fired
right.
up.
Likewise. All right, I'm
go.
gonna go turn the stuff off.
And go to turn it off. It's good. Dude, thank you for doing this.